Wow.
Well,
You look edible.
well, you being such a strong female character and you becoming a feminist icon, whether you wanted to or not, do you have any like feminist-centered messages you sort of just want to pass on and get out there?
Know your value. That's, I think, you know, to fully embrace who you are, with every aspect of what that is, the good, the bad, the ugly. There's no such thing as perfection, and that's, I think, the beauty and the potential of human beings, is we have the capacity for greatness and we have the capacity for darkness, and it's up to us to decide which path we want to take.
Nice.
I just made that up! I don't know what I'm talking about!
Hello.
Hi. First of all, congratulations on season 2.
Thank you!
And after all these great questions, I have a bit of a silly one.
Okay.
So, you have something of a reputation of falling asleep on set in strange places.
I work long hours, guys.
So, where are some of the strangest places that you've fallen asleep on set?
Well, on set, I will tell you that I have fallen asleep probably underneath a water cooler, on top of a popcorn machine, in a clothes rail while someone was trying to get changed. See, I try and be quite discreet about it. I find little hidden corners where I think I'm not going to get found out. But of course, on set, someone is following me around, making sure I don't suddenly disappear, so they know absolutely everywhere I am. I mean, it's anywhere that's possible, anywhere that looks remotely comfortable, and when you've been in heels fighting all day, even a hard floor is attractive.
You need to request for season 2 fighting a villain that exists in a pillow-based lair or something.
That sounds amazing.
Yes. Hello.
Hi. My voice sounds really different.
I know, right? It's weird. It's so weird. I know, I hate it. Not your voice, my voice.
I probably wouldn't have come to Comic-Con if you weren't here.
Thank you.
But nobody's completely perfect. I understand that you're somewhat clumsy.
Yes.
So I was wondering if you know exactly how many of your fellow cast members you've accidentally hurt, and if you have any particularly good stories that you could tell us about that.
6 stuntmen in the ball region. The assistant director got an iron chair thrown at him, and he was about to fire the person, and then he turned around and realized it was me. And I was like, got it, damn it, I can't do anything about it. Also, a grip member of the crew, he got whacked with an iron kind of rod. Poor guy. And his name was Carter, which was really weird. But none of the girls were harmed in the making of it. It was just the boys. It was releasing some tension there. Yeah, I think I never got used to that. And there was one stunt thing, which is kind of, no one really got hurt, but it was just kind of the story that brings to mind tonight. I think I've spoken about it on Twitter, so forgive me if I'm repeating myself. But I had my stunt coordinator, this fantastic woman, come up to me, and she said that during the diner scene, which is, I think, episode 5, my fights were becoming a little bit kind of dancey, and she just said, you know, we're not in a nightclub. And I was like, okay, no, I'll do it again. And on action, the first thing that came into my head was Nicki Minaj's Anaconda. So I spent the entire fight sequence just singing it to myself in my head. Not very 1946, not very Peggy Carter, but I like to bring a little bit of myself into my work. So there you go. And I was on set every day, and sometimes it would just be me, so I'd get a bit bored. And then I found out James was on his way, and he was running a little bit late. So I just decided to hide in his trailer, and I kind of jumped up on his table and hid behind a mirror, and I saw him kind of going, I could hear him outside go, hello, good morning, lovely to see you all, yeah, lovely. And just going to get ready now, and walks into his trailer, and I just screamed at him. And his response is on the Instagram. It's and I'll try and post it on Twitter. It's phenomenal, because he does a mixture of absolute horror, terror, despair, heart attack, and then fit of giggles like a schoolgirl. He then falls onto the couch and then slides down onto the floor. And he's still got his backpack and his coat on. And it's very un-Jarvis-like. It's absolutely, it was the highlight of my day. So that was my favourite. It didn't make the blooper reel, but it's, you should get an Instagram account, dude.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Since you told me so, yeah.
Actually both, Chris and Captain America.
Well, it was we took the job very seriously because obviously Captain America, the characters, as you said, have had a huge influence over the years, and was used incredibly positively in the war as a tool to promote service, and my father also served, and it was close to my life and my family in that respect. So it felt like a huge honour to be able to stand up and to represent someone, for Chris especially, for someone that had a huge kind of impact on people in this world. The other side of that is we never took ourselves too seriously. So Chris and I played a game on the iPad that was really popular at the time called Witch's Brew, which is a really, really silly game. And we would just kind of play computer games in the trailer and do running charades and do silly impressions of people on set and us take the mickey out of ourselves. But I think that's really important that you take the work seriously but not yourself seriously. Because it's so important to develop a sense of humor about yourself in this industry, where the work is important, but if you become worthy or you become arrogant about it, I think it takes away the warmth and it takes away the relatability for your audience.
Certainly. And the impact that you and your character was having on fan culture, looking out, as I said, a sea of red hats right in front of me, in fact. When did you start noticing that?
Well, it was probably the extent of it was coming to Comic-Cons and coming to conventions like this, and there was one I went to recently in Dubai, and there was this extraordinary woman who was wearing a full burqa, and she came up to me and she had tears in her eyes and she said, "Can you write on my picture that women can be heroes too?" And I just thought that was so moving, and I burst into tears, and then she burst into tears. But things like that. And there was also a woman that I met, and she'd had, I think it was a degenerative disease, and she hadn't had work of her legs for about 10 years. And she had me write my autograph down, and she came back to the convention the next day, and she'd had it tattooed on her leg. And she said it was a way of empowering herself by putting the kind of role models on her, what she called her broken body, as a way of claiming back power in who she was. And I found that to be truly, truly moving. More so than the commercial success, more so than anything like that. It's when you have moments where you've met people who it's positively affect their lives, you realize the power of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I just wanted to let you know that I love you. Okay, bye. Okay, so Marvel just announced a while ago, but the first female-led superhero movie coming out soon, probably later if they don't get any more rights. Okay. But would you like to cameo in that movie? Because Captain Marvel is probably a generation of girls who grew up watching you and seeing what you can do and knowing what you can do after you.
Yeah, there's something incredibly powerful when, and I'm sure both the men and the women in the audience are very well aware of this, but when a group of women to get together, especially in a bar on a Friday night, but like the power of having women together is quite extraordinary. And the way that they take care of each other, and a different kind of strength comes out. And to be able to be an ensemble with other women, it would just be a complete dream and a joy. I don't know how much work we'd actually get done, but I don't think it would matter.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I love that the question is coming from a fellow Stark. So yeah, there you go. Hello.
Okay, hi. So first of all, you're absolutely amazing. But my question is, if you could play anyone else in the Marvel universe, who would you play and why?
Gosh, it's really hard. I mean, I have an affinity with Steve Rogers, and especially because Chris is so amazing and hot and is amazing and stuff like that. It's really hard to say, and I've been asked that question quite a few times, but it's something that when you're in the Marvel universe, you feel very kind of protective and distinctive within your own character, within your own world. that you feel also that having met some of the other Avengers and other Marvel characters, they're doing such an extraordinary job in defining who they are, that I wouldn't want to try and impose my take on them. So I know I'm being really lame and not saying someone else, but I really think that people are becoming, a lot of the characters are becoming so brilliant at creating this imaginative world for them that I wouldn't want to impose. I do a terrible job.
Thank you. Does it ever cease to be surreal when you say things like, having met some of the other Avengers?
Well, when they met me, I mean, they were just blown away. It's just part of daily life now.
Yeah.
It is. It's lovely. I mean, the ones that I haven't met everyone, but they're normal people that are doing a great job in this really exciting world that people love. So it's a pleasure. I feel very, very delighted.
We were hanging out with Kat last week.
Oh,
and, Hi.
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 So I wanted to know if we would ever get to see Peggy start S.H.I.E.L.D. and if that's something you would like to see as well.
Yeah. Well, the exciting thing is we know that Peggy, obviously, from the second Captain America film, she is 96 years old, so we know that she's had a very full life. And if we think about what the decades that she would have lived in, we're talking the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and then 2000s. And so in that, think about the tremendous amount of social change that was happening in that time, and how the possibility for this show, for as long as it runs, to be able to explore and keep up with the changing times in that world, which is just really fascinating, because we can explore civil rights, and we can explore kind of the women's movement, and we can explore various wars, and also obviously within that the imaginative world of creating things like S.H.I.E.L.D. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for her to be a part of that.
Thank you.